Connie Upham here with the Indigenous-led podcast, and we are at the Blackfoot Crossing Historical Park. We have a guest today. He has been one of the presenters at the very first youth conference in diplomacy and policy, and I'm going to go ahead and let this knowledge keeper elder introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his background.
It's to Kainai. Og it's the Bimixaki, a capocake. Nin geesen on exista me stuitsaki. Okay. Get to connect some morning, everybody. My name is Shane Littlebear, and I'm from the Blood Tribe. I am a member of the Many Children's Clan, and I was raised in a traditional way by my grandparents. They raised me from day one. I was very fortunate. I was born on the same day as my grandfather. His name was Edward Littlebear, and my grandmother was named Ruth Littlebear, but Indian way, they were mom and dad. I've been married to my wife, Sherry Crosschild, for 30 years. We got 5 children. We got Shelby, Sarah, Rope, Nina, and Ty. And a lot of my background has been with horses. I've rodeoed, I've relayed, and I've done our society life. I've been part of the societies, and now I'm at a point where I'm teaching our traditional ways, and I have a youth riding program where I work with so many kids in horse healing, kids that have trauma and any kind of abandonment issues, utilizing the horse. It's been over 30 years I've been studying this. It started from when I was a kid. One of my friends, he couldn't go home that weekend. I took 5 of my friends home, and man, it was a sad day when we left the school. One was his crying, couldn't go home. Just a sad, depressing feeling. I told him, boys, just come with me. Let's go. Come my. So I just told my dad, these guys, there's nobody at home for them at their houses. He told me to take them with me. He said, yeah, just go home with them. Tell them to bring their clothes. We'll do their laundry too. Me and Mom are going to run to town, get a few more groceries, some snacks, but you take them riding. So I went riding down to my playground. That was the river bottom. Man, riding down was really sad. And then one of them was kind of crying. But on the way home, they were all happy. And by the time we got home, my mom cooked a big soup with bannock, and boy, they got full, and they got to lay down, just be themselves. From that day, I've lost a couple of them. Some of them have passed on, but they had a really good relationship with my parents. But the biggest thing out of this is I seen how those horses transformed that feeling, hey, from being sad to her. So they took out that energy, that pain, hey, and that was one thing I always told my dad. What do these horses do? These horses are amazing. And he started explaining to me, so that's been kind of a life journey, working with horses and doing our best to preserve what we have. We got so much history. It needs to be discussed. It needs to be taught right now with this younger generation. The young kids need to know who they are and where they come from so that they have purpose. I remember when I was a kid, we had visitors. All kinds of old people come visit our house, and it was really awesome to hear these stories. They'll take you over here 1 minute, then they'll go to our next scene, and then the next chapter 1, 2, 3, and with different scenes. Just to hear it in our language was really, and then the expressions they had. You know, as they're done visiting, telling their stories, they kind of wait. I used to tell my mom, I used to get a kick out of it. I told them, those old guys are just sitting there right now, and they're just going, Next guy, next guy, and they were just kind of like a round table going, And I told her, hey, Q, what are they doing? Are they visiting in their mind now? And she said, snuck up. Go outside. And it's just cheese to do. Don't bother them. Hey, get out there. Go play. And I told them, that is and She said, I was listening to them. She said, no, you go play outside. Number one, you couldn't disrupt them, especially when you had visitors, especially when older people would visit. And those are some of the things. So a lot of these things that we're talking about today came from them stories. Nowadays, our kids, they don't visit. Nowadays, you go to somebody's house and you're not going to say, oh, come in. Oh, Stumipy, come in. They'll say, oh, Akiwa, what's going on? How come you're here? See, that's what they'll say. Back then, the doors, you never locked your doors at home. You never had mean dogs. Everything was done in a gentle way. Like I remember sometimes my mom would be out of sugar. Go to the neighbors. She said, could you get sugar? They were out. These guys are drinking mint tea, and she's going to make some, cupcakes or pastry, to bake, And so I'd go over there, and she'd tell me, and you never tell them my mom wants to borrow. Just tell my mom wants to know if you have any sugar. So I run to the neighbors, see the old lady. I told her, it's just, my mom, she wants some sugar. She said, she'd put together the sugar, and she said, oh, and here's some other stuff I got for your mom. So they had that connection. You never hear them say borrow, eh? So that visiting, that connection, that is so important. Now their connection is on Facebook, Snapchat. And I think some of the things that we're going to develop our children to move forward in our truth. When you become older and you're in your community, you become a parent, especially in your clan, you become a parent of all those children. So you have to help that parent in a sense, okay, well, today we're going to teach. Now, we want your kid's going to come with us. This elder's going to do this. Or they'll teach them something good. So they would go with them and show them stuff. And that's very important for today. I feel we're losing that, but I'm very happy that our youth societies have grown. Like the Dubs back home, they've already transferred maybe 3 times. And that's for the little kids, and they're quite something, yeah. So, but what we're doing today, we're getting these kids ready for the future. They're going to take over these buffalo. They're going to take over negotiations. So the other thing is they need to know the language. When you speak Blackfoot, you think Blackfoot. It's very important with our traditional ways to start showing them these are your sacred lands. These are the sacred areas. Everywhere is sacred, has a name. We don't just have one area that's kind of like a holy land. Some people say this is the holy land. No, Mother Earth, our mother she's holy, so it's everywhere, hey? And we have to look at all these different areas and preserve them. They have meaning, they have connection, just like the buffalo. If it wasn't for the buffalo, we wouldn't have survived. So in that creation, when they made man was pitiful. These animals, they stepped up and were created. They made a treaty, and they said, okay, well, we'll give him some of our body. There's some animals that stepped up. Some animals gave ceremony. The other animals gave hunting. Like the wolves taught us how to hunt. And they were treaties made where we had to have respect for one another, stick up for one another too, eh? Like we're one big family.
Well, thank you for being here, Shane. I wanted to have you talk to our listeners about one of the breakout sessions that was pretty profound on making treaties with animals and some of the other things that you may have shared with the young people here at the first youth conference for Indigenous led.
I talked to them about when we make treaties. A lot of things begin with ourselves, eh? When you make a treaty, we look at ourselves like, how do we want to be treated? What can we offer? What can we use? And that was the biggest thing that I taught these kids. When the animals made treaty, when man was created, they offered some of their body to help man survive, eh? But there was a part in there that said, respect my children, respect our areas where we roam. Don't overkill us. Don't do these things. These animals, they've marked these different territories. And those territories, when we'd go and look at them, we'd start giving them names. And these would say, okay, this is their area. They're always in this area. But back in the day, buffalo roamed. They were everywhere. Animals. Their territory was on the plains as well, not just in the mountains, but because of settlers and because of interference, a lot of them have migrated to mountains. Yeah, whitetail and pronghorn and dog grizzlies come out. But now, because of the shift in climate, a lot of them are coming this way, back out to the prairies. So we have to respect it is their home. I see a lot of people nowadays in uproar. When a buffalo gets out, they don't say that when a bear comes out or an elk. So the biggest thing is this was their home, and we have to respect their area. When we start interrupting their area, it throws their life, their doings, They have a set way things are put in place. And if we tamper with it causes a shift where it could affect the animals, the babies. So we have to learn how to respect their energies, what they do, their homes. It's just like if somebody came into your home and told you, I'm going to live in your home, but you're going to stay in that little bedroom. When I look at things like that with our animals, what they're trying to do to them, especially these buffalo, they were a mirror of us people. Us people mirrored the buffalo. The buffalo gave us his life. We had this big home, and they put us on these little reserves. Say, okay, well, we're going to take your home, but you're going to live in the closet, and we'll tell you when to move. Same thing with the buffalo. When we had this big, beautiful house, that's the easiest way I explained it to these kids. And I told them, but we still respected that little area we had. So the biggest thing in our treaties is our respect for their territory, which is a big area. And the bottom line in anything we do is respect, common sense. And we have to protect what they have, what we have. If we don't protect them, then who is? And they've offered so much. When I look at my life and then my ancestors, if it wasn't for these animals, I don't think we would be here. So those are some of the things. The other thing is we need to go to the governments, and as youth, they need to sit and be part of it, to draft up things where these buffalo are free, where they can do their own thing. Just like a bear, mountain lion, elk, the beavers, all the different animals that we use. I told these kids, when you grow up, you got to know who you are, where you come from, so that you have purpose, that you can understand our way of life. So those are some of the things that I shared with them from kind of like a traditional way, and our kids have to start understanding. And then I think it is important as parents that we speak those languages in our homes. Nowadays, some kids will make a mistake in their language and they'll laugh at them. No, don't be laughing at them. Say, hey, come here. I'm going to correct you. Some of these kids now are trying to learn our way of life off computer, off these apps, trying to learn the language. And that's sad. When our elders, I hate to say this too, but there's some elders that know stuff and they're just sitting there, say, well, I'm sitting here waiting. But I remember our elders too. People would go see them for knowledge. But I also have elders with my dad used to drive and say, let's go check on this couple here. I'm teaching them. Let's go. I need to go find out. And they'd go over there. Oh, come in. Shikshiki. They'd get in. He'd say, oh, how are you guys doing? Just to check. He didn't say, well, I was waiting for you guys. I'm sitting here just waiting for you guys to come and get knowledge. No. It was a network, eh? And we've lost a lot of that stuff to go and to visit. I used to tell these guys, the only place we visit is at Walmart. We'll meet each other and we start visiting. I used to see my friends. They'd be standing there, I walk by them, 20 minutes later, still tell, hey, you guys, Go home and visit. You can have tea, sandwiches, tell good stories. They kind of say, get tea much. Oh, you're right,
I remember doing that growing up. That was a term, was going visiting.
Yeah.
Where'd my mom go? Well, oh, she went visiting. And so I used to love doing that with her, going to some of our aunties and her elders. And I still kind of do that a little bit with my family. I know the family that I can just show up whenever, but there's others where you have to give them a call and let them know that you're coming over. Yeah. I wonder how we could get back to that in our communities, bring that back. What would you say?
Well, I'd say the parents. There's a lot of parents that still have that knowledge. And I know because they're my age. And like anytime my kids want something, I tell them, well, go and visit them. Go over there. You'll be surprised. Go learn who they are. There's social structures now in our reserves. There's people way up here, then there's grassroots. And the grassroots are the ones that have all the knowledge. Before we were all one. Everybody was connected like this. And a lot of them got a lot of that information. So now, kids my generation, they want to learn. Go send them over there before they're gone, before they pass away. And they say, I know, I'm trying. I always tell people, don't use that word trying. Don't use word I hope. Don't use word I wish. Because you limit yourself. Trying, you're just lying. You're either going to do it or not. See, in our language is very direct, very powerful. They'll say, watch what you say. You're thinking what you think will come out of your mouth. So always pray before you're going to do something. You're thinking that it's good because it is powerful. It has a radiation to it. And I was really laughing. I thought, holy, pretty powerful, just like manifestation. They thought it, they talked it, and it just happened. So these younger people, we need the parents to go out and say, hey, that's your client uncle. Go visit him. Tell me about your life. What do you know? There's your client auntie. Oh, there's an old elder that, get some little gift and tell her you're going to go visit her. It's not hard. Push your kids to do that. That's a good thing. Yeah, they'll say, for them to get that knowledge. Or, on the other hand, is you invite them to your home. Start inviting, I'm going to have supper with you. I'm going to have tea with you. And when you come, there's a little gift. And teach my kids your way of life, your life. Talk about your life. Show them just on our life, too, as Nitsitapi, as Blackfoot people. Yeah. So that interruption from boarding school was pretty hard in all areas, and I know we can't do anything about it now, and some people still have a tough time talking about it, but we learn from it. We have to move forward. We never dwell on the past, our old people. It already happened. Let's just learn from it, not to let it happen again, to ever repeat itself. Get all our people, we can know how to fight. Now we know what kind of frame of thinking these people had towards us. What they wanted us gone, just like the buffalo. And sometimes it hurts to speak the truth, but that's what happened to us. I really feel now in the mornings when we have a society, I tell my friends, pray for all these kids that were unmarked their burial when it became big on news. Pray for our children that we start learning, that their parents will push them to our way. I know it's taught in school, our way of life, but the real teaching is at these homes. I tell my friends, pray for them. I go to societies. Tell them, look, you're leading our people in society. Pray for these ones, these people over here. They're lost, and pray that our kids come back home.
Way
buffalo was a really good source for our people. Now they were treated like us. It's a known fact that buffalo meat today, putting it back in our diet, helps our people, diabetes. We need to pass that message out. And you learn all these things just through story, visiting. Right now, because of outside influence, we're affected so many different ways. I've been talking about diabetes because I've had friends that were really affected by diabetes. I think, geez, imagine they had bone broth or stuff like that to help them, hey? Get their diet on and have these elders work their pancreas in the Indian way, heal them up with that buffalo broth. Boy, I bet you they would have got out of their diabetes. Yeah, but there's so many areas, avenues with this that we can go in. And right now, I'm really glad that we are even talking about it, addressing it, taking it to the next level and moving forward. But to teach our kids that frame of mind, visiting like parents out there, always push your kids to learn our traditional way of life. It starts from home. Make that effort. Your lineage is so beautiful, no matter where you come from. But for me, I love being a man from the blood reserve, from my people, Siksikaitsitapi. We had a really good talk this morning about, these white guys gave all these white names, and there's no meaning to it in here. A long time ago, we had Indian names. So for us, we were scared of blood. The interpreter called us blood people because we were weasel people, and weasel and blood in our language sound the same. Yeah, and we were like the weasels. How we operated, we were fierce like them. So there's a meaning for everything. All these things have to be shown. Now I'm very happy that we've had kids graduate from big schools all across North America. And some of our kids in high school are very intelligent, very smart. Now they're going into their careers. Parents, it's really good that you've gotten your children there. But make sure you teach them who they are, where they come from. I had one uncle, he was the first one to graduate from Olds College. His name was Gilbert Little Bear. He'd sit there and, he was going, He said, it's only that, eh? And these people would say, how are you? Say, I've been in school. I'm going to school. He'll be having conversations with these young people. Yeah, I'm at the university. He said, Sukapi, that's good. Then he'd tell them, okay, don't become so smart where you're stupid. And I used to look at him and I thought, and here he was one of the first guys to, very intelligent, but he was such a character. He was humorous, and I loved being around him. He'd talk everything in our language, and he was a comedian, eh? But his actions always had a meaning to it, always teaching us something, eh? And don't become so smart where you're stupid. And I used to tell him, what does he mean? Those guys, and I'd be they kind of think, I think he means don't forget your common sense. I would use good common sense. But it's very important they have both ways, because if you don't have that balance, things are not going to be good. If you don't have your way and then using this new way. So in Indian, they say if you have it too bad, it's not good. If you don't have it too good, it's not good either. You have to create that balance. Your balance in life, hey? So these are some of the things that I shared with them. So visiting, learning, and having respect for one another. These kids, that's what I was showing them with this treaty. And to protect our way. And
we'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Indigenous-led podcast, produced by Leilani Upham with Iron Shield Creative and co-producer Josh Adler with Ecologica. The Indigenous-led podcast would not be possible without the wisdom of our ancestors, our knowledge keepers, and the Myriad supporters who follow our work and invest in our efforts to elevate Indigenous voices and build power so Indigenous ways of knowing, being, and doing can be directed to the planetary crisis we are living through. Indigenous Led is a fiscally sponsored project of the Wild Foundation, and we dedicate our inaugural podcast to our Buffalo relatives, their homelands, and our partners from across Sitsikatsapi. If you'd like to listen to more of the Indigenous-led conversations, please subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And follow us on Instagram at Indigenous_LED. And follow our work at indigenousled.org.